BTS's Jin burst into tears in front of tens of thousands of viewers, not because of technical errors, nor because of stage fatigue, but because a simple piece of banner read a profound message from the army. "Goodbye isn't the end," the banner read. Just 5 words, but enough to stop Kim Seokjin in the middle of his last concert in the United States. Are these farewell tears? Or is it the beginning of something bigger? Over the past few weeks, Jin's tour of various major American cities has caught the world's attention, but last night at Citizens Bank Park, Philadelphia, recorded a moment that will never be forgotten. More than 45,000 soldiers filled the stadium, but it wasn't just the volume of cheering that shook the atmosphere. It was the emotional silence that broke as white banners bearing the same message were lifted in unison into the air. The banner was not part of an official promotion. It was purely the initiative of the local army community in Newark and Philadelphia, who drafted the silent action as a form of farewell and support to Jin. The action lasts only seconds, but the effect seems to freeze time. The moment Jin's eyes met that sea of messages, his facial expression changed drastically. He fell silent. His lips trembled. And finally, tears flowed in the middle of a stage that was once full of laughter and energy. The camera shows his face. Thousands of fans were crying at the same time. Some were heard shouting, "We're not leaving," and "We stay here for you." However, on stage, Jin was only able to bow deeply, as if unable to withstand the emotional burden that suddenly hit. During the pause, Jin said in a trembling voice, "You have no idea how valuable this is. I never thought I would see this at my last concert here." Then he added, "I was so happy but also scared, because it feels like the end, even if you say it's not." The moment then went viral across social media platforms. The video clip of Jin reading the banner and starting to cry was seen by millions of people in less than 12 hours. However, what exactly is the meaning behind the "Goodbye isn't the end" banner? And why is that sentence capable of destroying the emotional fortress of an idol who has stood on stage for more than a decade? The message was a direct response to Jin's statement at a previous concert, where he had said, "If this is goodbye, please remember that it doesn't mean forever." The sentence, which at that time sounded like a sweet ending, apparently moved many ARMY to reaffirm that separation does not always mean an end. Not only filled by fans from the eastern region of the US, the Philadelphia concert was also attended by the ARMY from Canada, Mexico, Japan, England, and South Korea. Some even claim to have come just to watch this last concert, smelling the feel of something that will change afterwards. During the concert, Jin made no major announcements regarding his future in the entertainment industry. However, the atmosphere that formed was very full of meaning. The songs performed, the narration on the LED screens, up to the selection of the ending song, "The Astronaut," all strengthened the impression that the evening was not only the end of the tour, but also a kind of emotional transition to a new phase in Jin's career. The moment of the "Goodbye isn't the end" banner also touched not only Jin. Some HYB staff who accompanied the tour were seen crying on the edge of the stage. Many of them are known to have worked with Jin since his trainee days, so they are well aware of the severity of this kind of separation step, even if it is only symbolic. International media called this moment an epic emotional breakdown and the most human moment of the tour. Many Korean pop culture analysts underline how Jin not only showed his professional side as a performer, but also showed his fragile side as a human being who received so much love from global fans. To his surprise, after the concert was over, Jin did not immediately go backstage. He was silent for a long time, looking at the spectator stands that were slowly starting to empty. Some soldiers who have not moved to call his name softly. Jin just put his hand on his chest and nodded slowly, wordlessly, yet meaningfully. Now the question is this really the end of the regular tour? Or the beginning of a longer vacuum? Until now, there has been no official statement from HYB regarding Jin's next steps. However, an internal source said that Jin plans to return to Korea in the near future to work on something very personal. Does that mean a new solo album, project with Coldplay, or a long rest period? To be clear, ARMY has shown one thing, that their love does not depend on schedules, comebacks, or concerts. The phrase, "goodbye is in the end," is not just a piece of paper. It was a promise written by tens of thousands of hearts who would not leave the stage, even though the lights had already been extinguished. For those of you who watched the concert, both live and via digital broadcast, how did you feel when you saw Jin crying because of the banner? Do you believe that this is just a temporary separation? Or do you have another feeling? Please write your opinion in the comments and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the latest updates about Jin, BTS, and all the emotional moments that won't necessarily happen again. But in the midst of a surge of emotions, media spotlight, and public conversation that led to the moment of Jin crying because of the banner, a fundamental question arises that cannot be ignored. Did this event really happen as it was reported? Or is this just visual and narrative engineering designed in such a way as to create a viral effect in the era of social media? It should be emphasized that the information we present comes from a number of public platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, to fan media. Scattered video footage, photographs from different angles, to statements that claim to be direct quotes from Jin. Everything spread very quickly, before even the major media had time to confirm their authenticity. In this context, it is very important not to rush to conclusions that is it true that Jin is crying because the banner says goodbye isn't the end? Or was the moment actually part of a stage script that had been emotionally composed to create the touching climax of the concert? Who organized the distribution of the banner? Why does the entire audience seem to be holding identical messages at the same time? Doesn't such a thing require high coordination, perhaps even consent on the part of the concert organizers? We do not allege that such moments are false. However, in an era when the boundaries between reality and engineering are becoming increasingly blurred, questions of this kind are not only natural to ask, but also indispensable. Furthermore, we must reflect on the role of media and fandom in shaping the public narrative. When an emotional moment like this is massively publicized, is what is sought genuine emotional connectedness or favorable media exposure for a particular party? Is it possible that the story of this moving banner is used as a symbolic marketing tool to maintain the existence of Jin during the non-promotional period? In the entertainment world of South Korea, especially involving big names like BTS, it is not uncommon to find events arranged in such a way as to form perceptions. In the context of Jin's concert, the visualization of the masses holding uniform banners, the cries perfectly captured on camera, to the post-concert narration uniformly spread across the various accounts of large fans. All of this can be read as an indication of a structured scenario. However, we also cannot necessarily conclude that the moment is engineering. The opposite possibility opens up. It is possible that the event really happened spontaneously, sincerely, and contained real emotional value. Jin are human. He's not just a performer on stage. The possibility that he was crying because he was truly touched by ARMY's love is not something that can be refuted without strong evidence. Then the next question arises: how should we, as spectators or readers, react to an event like this? Are we going to take for granted every viral video and dominant narrative that appears on social media timelines? Or are we going to take a break, ask questions, seek verification, and be critical of what is presented before us? The fact that many videos on TikTok and YouTube record Jin's crying moments with various angles of capture does not necessarily prove the authenticity of her emotions. Visuals can be manipulated, narratives can be framed, and perceptions can be collectively shaped. What's more, social media algorithms put emotion ahead of accuracy. Even some of the army itself began to question, is this a farewell designed as a climax stage? Did Jin know about the banner in the first place? Why is there no official documentation from the HYB regarding the banner? This is a legitimate question, and it should precisely be asked. We do not intend to degrade the emotional value of the moment that has happened. However, we feel it is important to invite the public to think reflectively. Are we witnessing reality? Or is it just the dramatic effect of the entertainment industry being so sophisticated, playing on the emotions of the masses? If you were part of the audience who wept with the genie that night, or who watched the video and were swept up in emotion, are you really sure it was a purely spontaneous event? Or, in your little heart, had it crossed your mind that all of this was too perfect to be a coincidence? This reflection is not to accuse, but rather to return the public to the basic principles of information consumption: skeptical, objective, and contextual. Therefore, we invite you, dear readers and viewers, to express your opinion in the comments. Do you believe this moment of Genie's crying was pure and unplanned? Or do you think this is part of HYB's communication strategy to keep the public's attention during Jin's post-tour transition? How far can we distinguish between emotional reality and media construction in today's K-pop industry? And most importantly, what does goodbye is at the end really mean if all this is just part of a planned narrative? Criticism, reflection, and doubt are not forms of hatred. That's part of our responsibility as an intelligent audience. Because in the end, it's not just love that keeps us connected, it's awareness of the truth. Keep thinking critically. Do not immediately believe in what seems touching, even when tears flow so real. Truth doesn't always come in a viral form, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on critical analysis and other incisive discussions around BTS, Jin, and the ever-evolving world of K-pop with multiple layers of meaning. Thank you.